few days after Christine Blasey Ford came onto the scene, I started hearing conservative commentators saying something about Trump's base. It went like this. If Kavanaugh is not confirmed, Republicans will probably be so disheartened that they won't turn out for the midterms. This is an old idea among conservative pundits, and it's one that is based in historic reality. The idea is that Democrats win elections because conservatives don't fight. Think about that. Most of us don't even like politics because we don't want the focus to be on government. We believe that a better world is the result of better individuals. They think that they should build a government so big that people are afraid to talk back to it. Politics is to them what faith and family are to us. It's their higher power. And so when it comes time to vote, they are way more likely to be manning the phones and walking the precincts than we are. They're out there like Jehovah's Witnesses. This stuff is serious for them. So the pundits who worried that some Senate Republicans would be too timid to back Kavanaugh figured that a loss would send the deplorables into an apathetic funk. But they didn't think that a confirmation would fire us up either. They figured that we'd be so disgusted with it all that we'd check out and not even snap out of it by November. I get it. I didn't turn the radio on for days. After the Senate did the right thing and confirmed Coach K, I just breathed a sigh of relief and ignored politics for a week. Truth is, I felt kind of dirty. Look, I know plenty of moderate Democrats who are good people. Some of what they stand for makes sense to me, and they see logic in a lot of my beliefs. But this politics of personal destruction has got to end. In their hearts, they know it too. How many more of these smear campaigns will there be before we make it clear that it is not okay to destroy people's lives because you want somebody else in their jobs? That's got to end now. And at a time when most moderates left and right are embarrassed by what the Democrats do, we have a real opportunity. I mean, for God's sake, look at how Mitch McConnell woke up. Look at Lindsey Graham. Good people on both sides are fed up with this political terrorism. Their strategy against Kavanaugh failed for one reason only. They didn't have the numbers. We cannot let them change that equation. If we stay home, they will take that as a validation of their dirty little game. We don't just sympathize with Judge Kavanaugh for the attacks on his character. We empathize. We know exactly how that feels, to be attacked as terrible people for the sole crime of not bowing to progressives. Before social media, nobody had ever suggested that I was a racist or a misogynist. But long before I came out as a conservative, I was being viciously slandered simply for saying that the conservatives I knew were actually fine people. I realized that the smear campaigns were standard operating procedure on the left. And you all figured that out too. We sent Trump to Washington partly because we were fed up with being falsely accused and dragged through the mud. We have to find that anger inside us again, just for a couple more weeks, just for long enough to keep them from regaining the House and the Senate. And then we can turn the TV off for a while. But first, we have to vote. All of us, straight ticket. We have to win in November, or we may very well lose the country to politicians for whom the ends always justify the means. There was a big windstorm in my area in the wee hours of Monday morning, and the power went out. By dawn, blue-collar men and women were on the job fixing what the storm had broken. People like that don't obsess over politics. People like us. We can't stand the bickering and BS. We like to look at a problem, roll up our sleeves, and make it right. When we've decided that action is required, we don't get disheartened. We don't lapse into depression and go back to bed. We drag our butts out into the cold and load the tools into the truck. We do what needs to be done, and we finish the job. How will the history books remember Brett Kavanaugh? Already he'll have an asterisk by his name, a shadow of doubt on his character. But if the blue wave does materialize, he'll be remembered as the guy in the hot seat while the Democrats proved once and for all that the politics of personal destruction works. But if everybody who is disgusted by that phony display votes against the Democrats, Kavanaugh will be remembered as the guy who stood his ground and inspired voters to reject this sort of smear campaign. It will send a powerful message all across the political spectrum, and it will ensure that President Trump keeps the mandate that we've given him. And it will do a lot to show Justice Kavanaugh that we've got his back. Remember the movie that brought Ronald Reagan into the public eye? In that movie, he played George Gipper, a football player who lay in a hospital bed while his team fought on. He said this to Newt Rockne: "Rock, sometimes when the team is up against it and the brakes are beating the boys, ask them to go out there with all they've got and win just one for the Gipper." Let's each of us do our duty, like we always do when that duty becomes crystal clear to us. Let's get out there on November 6th and win just one for Coach K. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel and then click the little bell to get notifications.